The keys to happiness may be closer than you think, and our next guest is going to lead the way.
New York Times bestselling author Gretchen Rubin is on the cover of this month's issue of Live Happy, and she's here to share her secrets. Welcome.
I'm very happy to be here.
Thank you.
We're happy
not
to
only are you on the cover of that magazine, but you also, Happier at Home is a book that you wrote.
Right.
And you also wrote The Happiness Project, which I read.
Oh, excellent. Good,
so
good, good.
why do you think so many people are unhappy?
You know, I think that people realize that there's things that we can do in our ordinary life. Maybe you're unhappy, or maybe you feel pretty happy and you just want to stop taking it for granted. So I think there's this real emphasis right now where people think like, I really need to focus on this and make it a priority. And that's why they're doing things like buy Live Happy magazine, because they're like, I need to make time for this in my life. I don't want to just get swept up in the petty details. I want to make time for what matters.
I find it interesting that so many people think of themselves as unhappy. And it's not a single thing that makes them unhappy. It's not, oh, I'm struggling with a disease. It's just a sort of a vague malaise and unhappiness with their situation. Do you find that to be true?
Or they say stressed. I'm so stressed.
Right.
I'm so unhappy. So I think one of the things to do is to really focus on, well, what is making you feel unhappy? What's making you feel stressed? And then you can sometimes see, like, what are the things that you could do differently?
So do you have tips for people who want to feel happier? And where do they start? You know, because I think it's always a quest. It's a quest of mine. I want to be happier. I want to be happier. But how do we do that?
Well, one of the things that always surprises me is that for most people, outer order contributes to inner calm. So taking a minute, like anything that you can do in less than a minute, just do it. Like hang up your coat or read a letter and throw it away.
Happier at Home is fascinating. You, 1 month at a time and one chapter at a time, you went through your life at home to make yourself happier. Right. Where did you start? You started with your possessions, right?
No, I started with body.
With your body.
Possessions the second, because body.
Really?
Because
body first?
Because your emotional experience is always influenced by your physical experience. So things like getting enough sleep is so important. Yes. You know, most people don't get 7 hours of sleep. Or like one of my favorite resolutions is to enjoy good smells, because smell is something that's all around us. And if we pay attention to the smell of grapefruit or the smell of vanilla or the smell of a hardware store, we can get so much pleasure out of it and really connect with our bodies. We're on our heads so much of the time. It's really great to work on things that are about energy and about physical experience.
And then the second thing was your possessions.
Was possessions.
Right? Really appreciating what you have.
Really appreciating what you have, because there's sort of a tendency to say, oh, simplicity is everything, get rid of it all, be happier with less. But possessions have an important role to play in a happy life. They really remind us of the people and the places and the activities we love. And so I found that by cultivating a shrine, by mindfully arranging the things that I loved, I really got a lot more happiness out of the stuff that I already had.
Like, it wasn't going out and buying more.
No.
It was actually just looking at the things you
No, and people have shrines to music or shrines to tools or I have a friend who's like his whole apartment is a shrine to wine. And
I made to children's books, right?
To children's literature, exactly, because that's something that I really love. It's not for everybody, but when I'm in that part of my apartment, I'm like, oh, I'm so happy.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you also spent some time on your marriage, on being a parent. Tell me about the biggest takeaway from your time spent focusing on happier marriage.
I think the thing that had the biggest effect, both on my marriage and on my children, is that every time someone comes and goes from the apartment now, we give them a real hello or real goodbye, which means you get up out of your chair, you come to the person, give them a hug or a kiss, and really engage with them. Because so often, like the people in our life, we take them for granted, we just grunt out a hello. Studies show that married people treat each other with less consideration than they treat strangers or friends. And so by showing this kind of consideration, that moment of connection, a physical gesture of affection, it really gives you that feeling of tenderness and attentiveness that's so important for a happy atmosphere at home.
So true. It's warm hellos and goodbyes. I love that.